Welcome back to a new series of games and various frustrations that accompanied us in our youth. Are you brave? Are you ready? Well, because I'm not at all. Let's talk about Super Mario Land, the game that brought Mario and his mustache directly into your pocket. An adventure that will have you jumping from one world to another with impressive ease, just like Mario dodging Goombas. The graphics? Well, let's say it's a blast from the past, with colors that look a bit vintage. But who needs details when you can run through the desert and dive into the deep sea? Each level is a mix of new features, and the controls are so responsive that Mario seems to have a caffeine fix in his system. The music is a jingle that creeps into your head like a chorus from a pop song, and you might find yourself humming it while you shop. But be careful. This trip is shorter than a summer afternoon. You finish it while waiting for your coffee. And the bosses? They are so easy that they could easily sleep during the fight. In summary, Super Mario Land is a nostalgic blast from the past, perfect for those who want to have fun without too much effort, and for those who hope not to run out of battery before completing it.
Ready to take to the court with Tennis for Game Boy? This 1989 title is proof that tennis can be played anywhere, even on a screen as small as a deck of cards. The gameplay is simple and straightforward: hit the ball, sprint, and try not to look like a total inexperienced. The controls are intuitive, and your shots respond as if you had a little virtual coach telling you, "Come on, don't be shy." The graphics, however, well, we're talking pixels that look like they came out of an 80s family album. But who needs details when you're trying not to hit the ball out of bounds? The matches can be fun, but the duration is like an indoor tennis match. Sometimes it drags on, sometimes it's a quick exchange. And the game modes? A little limited, but at least you can challenge a friend in multiplayer and find out who the real champion is, or who gives up first. In short, Tennis for Game Boy is a game that takes competitive tennis to a new level of nostalgia. It's perfect for those who want a sporting experience without too many pretensions, or for those looking for a way to vent their frustration without having to pick up tennis balls.
Ah, Tetris for Game Boy, the timeless classic that made you dream of fitting blocks together instead of sleeping. With its minimalist graphics and monochromatic colors, it looks like a puzzle straight out of a maze. The simplicity of the gameplay is irresistible. You can play anywhere and anytime. Each match is a challenge to tidy up the chaos, and the iconic music will have you singing on loop. But be careful, the game can become a trap. You might find yourself playing for hours, while the outside world forgets you. And the frustration when a block doesn't fit as you hoped? Oh mama! Tetris is the perfect game for anyone who loves brain training, or for anyone who needs a reason to ignore the real world.
Bugs Bunny and Crazy Castle for Game Boy, the 1991 masterpiece that brought arcade frenzy right into your pocket. Here we have Bugs jumping, running, and climbing as always. Why change a winning formula, right? The graphics? Brighter and more detailed than the original, almost making Bugs look like a work of art. And the sound? More elaborate melodies and sound effects, so realistic you might think you have the rabbit in your living room, or is it just your neighbor playing the drum? And let's not forget the new exclusive levels. Why settle for the usual castle when you can have Bugs on an adventure that surprises? In short, a porting that has won over Looney Tunes fans and proves that bunny madness is always a good idea.
Ready to put on your helmet and race in Motocross Maniacs? This Game Boy game is like a wild ride on two wheels, where stunts and speed are the norm and the controls respond as if you had an extra gear. The gameplay is fast-paced and full of breathtaking jumps. You'll face a series of tracks that seem designed by a child on too much sugar, steep climbs, dizzying descents, and bizarre obstacles that make each race a unique adventure. The feeling of speed is palpable, and the animations are really cute. Every jump makes you feel like a champion, and the adrenaline is pumping. And if you manage to complete the levels, you can unlock new tracks and motorbikes, a real prize for bike maniacs. On the other hand, the controls can be a little imprecise, and at times it feels like the bike has a mind of its own. What about collisions with objects? They'll make you feel like you just skidded in traffic. Motocross Maniacs is a racing experience that offers adrenaline and fun, perfect for those who love motocross and challenges, even if every now and then it might make you want to throw the console out the window.
Hyper Lode Runner for Game Boy is every platformer and puzzle fan's dream. In this 1991 gem, you control a miner who must collect gold while running away from enemies who seem more ferocious than a pack of hungry dogs. Dig, jump and pray not to get caught. The graphics are surprisingly colorful, green, for the Game Boy, almost making the whole thing look like an art festival. And with tons of levels, you're guaranteed hours of fun or frustration. Compared to the original, the levels are larger and require scrolling, because complicating things is always a good idea, right? And let's not forget the explosive blocks and smarter enemies. Playing Hyper Lode Runner is a dive into nostalgia, easy to learn but difficult to master. In short, if you love classic platformers and want to torture yourself a bit, this title is a must. Have fun, if you don't jump out the window first.
Pinball, Revenge of the Gator, a title that makes more noise than an alligator in a pottery factory. Let's start with the pros. The design of the playground is so creative that it seems like something out of an artist's nightmare who overdid it on the coffee. Alligators are everywhere, and the background music is so engaging that you'll feel ready to throw your pinball machine at a rock concert. But, alas, not all that glitters is gold. If you think you have an easy game, forget it. This game is harder than trying to explain to an alligator why you can't be friends. And let's talk about the graphics. Sometimes it seems like the designer threw everything into a blender, creating a mix of colors and shapes that could give you a headache. In summary, Revenge of the Gator is a pinball machine that promises fun, but only if you're ready to struggle with its insane difficulty and bizarre graphics. Ready to let the challenge eat you up? Let's pinball!
Alleyway is a game that turns pinball into a blocky adventure, just like an evening of hitting bottles in a bar. The concept is simple but effective. There you are, your shovel, a lot of bricks to destroy and a ball to bounce as if it were your life plan. The graphics are cute and retro, perfect for those who love vintage, and the soundtrack will make you move your shoulders, even if the rest of your body can't follow the beat. But don't fool yourself, because here comes the flaws. The difficulty? Like trying to explain the meaning of life to a cat, sometimes it gets frustrating. And let's talk about variety. After a few levels, you will have the feeling of always being in the same alley, which becomes more boring than a 3-hour film with no plot. Alleyway is a game that offers immediate fun, but can become repetitive and frustrating. Perfect for a quick game, but don't expect an epic adventure. Ready to let that ball fly? Let's break some bricks.
Castlevania, the adventure game that will make you feel like you are in Dracula's castle, but with the graphics power of a calculator. The atmosphere is incredible. The music is so addictive that you will want to dance with the vampires. And the gameplay? Classic and addictive, with lots of enemies to destroy and bosses to face. It will make you feel like a real monster hunter, or at least you'll try. But watch out for the flaws. The difficulty is higher than a flying vampire. Some jumps are so precise you'll have to aim like a sniper. And the graphics? Well, it's a bit like an impressionist painting. It's beautiful in theory, but sometimes you'll wonder what you're really looking at. Castlevania, the adventure is a fascinating adventure, but be prepared to sweat and scratch your head. Ready to face Dracula with a little sarcasm? Good luck, hunters!
I don't know what to say. A little dragon in a labyrinth who takes the key to exit the aforementioned. Would this be a game? Too bad the dragon can't breathe fire. I would have charred myself. Let's move on to something else which is better.
Master Karateka, a game that will make you feel like a true martial arts master, or at least like a novice karateka. The gameplay is fluid and the kick and punch combos can make you feel like Bruce Lee, ready to defeat any opponent. The levels are varied and offer a good amount of challenge, perfect for those who like to test their skills. But, alas, let's get to the flaws. The difficulty can be higher than a Zen master in meditation. Some enemies seem to have the power to resurrect like cats. And the graphics? It's retro, but at times it feels like the characters are fighting in a modern art gallery, confusing and poorly defined. Master Karateka is a great game for those who love martial arts, but be prepared to sweat and laugh at your failures. Ready to kick your way to victory? Good luck, warriors!
Hokuto no Ken on the Game Boy, a pixelated masterpiece. Imagine having the power of Kenshiro, the coolest warrior in the universe, packaged in a pocket-sized game the size of a bar of soap. Sounds cool, right? But instead, well, prepare for an epic disappointment. The graphics? A riot of pixels so big you could use them as clay pigeon shooting targets. The fighting? A ballet of pixels colliding for no real reason. The story? Deep as a puddle. In short, such an innovative experience that will make you reevaluate all your life choices. Why play it? To become a master of Hokuto Shinken, your way, learn to unleash your most powerful attacks with a directional pad that looks like it came out of a 1950s spaceship. To find out if your eyes can handle the impact, test your eyesight with graphics so pixelated you'll feel like you're watching an 80s movie on VHS. To show your friends that you have good taste, proudly show them your collection of retro games and prepare to suffer their laughter. In conclusion, Fist of the North Star on Game Boy is such a surreal experience that it will make you ask, whose idea was it to bring this masterpiece to the Game Boy? If you love retro games and impossible challenges, then this game is perfect for you. Otherwise, I highly recommend you look elsewhere. A tip: before playing, make sure you have a good dose of irony and self-irony. And maybe a magnifying glass, you never know.
Our journey ends here, momentarily. The journey into the splendor and degradation of video games will last for a long time. Until next time.